His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister Prince Salman bin Hamad Al Khalifa chaired the weekly cabinet meeting at the Palace. The cabinet affirmed the importance of His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa's visit to the UAE, highlighting the discussions held between His Majesty the King and the UAE President His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan on the long-standing Bahrain-UAE relations, their robust partnership, and furthering collaboration between the two countries. The cabinet highlighted the strength of the Bahrain-Saudi relations and multi-sectoral collaboration, which reflects the visions of His Majesty the King and the custodian of the two holy mosques, King Salman bin Abdulaziz Al Saud. These visions align with the agreements and initiatives signed between the two countries, including the Local Value Program in Industry Takamul, which treats the products produced in both countries similarly. The program is one of the outcomes of the Saudi-Bahraini Coordination Council, led by His Royal Highness the Saudi Crown Prince and Prime Minister, Prince Mohammed bin Salman bin Abdulaziz Al Saud. The cabinet noted that the program will enhance the national economy and consolidate the sustainability of the strategic partnership between the two kingdoms. The cabinet commended Bahrain's e-passport for winning the International Red Dot Design Award 2024, the most prestigious design competition standard, reflecting the excellence of the kingdom's e-passport. The cabinet directed the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to raise awareness among citizens and travelers about travel guidelines, emphasizing compliance with regulations, security and safety procedures in the countries they visit. The cabinet emphasized the importance of citizens adhering to warnings issued by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs regarding traveling to countries with unstable security conditions. The cabinet stressed the importance of providing young Bahrainis with promising opportunities and investing in them to meet their ambitions and further the kingdom's development. It noted the efforts of the Supreme Council for Youth and Sports, led by the representative of His Majesty the King for Humanitarian Work and Youth Affairs, Chairman of the Supreme Council for Youth and Sports, His Highness Sheikh Nasser bin Hamad Al Khalifa, in supporting Bahraini youth through several initiatives that enhance their creativity and excellence. The cabinet expressed concern over the dangers of escalation in the region, warning about their security repercussions, increasing tension and violence, and fueling conflict in the Middle East. It stressed the kingdom's position against political violence, calling on all parties to avoid further escalation in the region. The meeting emphasized the importance of the Security Councils and the international community's support of the regional efforts to prevent further escalation and tension due to their dangerous repercussions on regional security and stability. The cabinet then approved the following: a memorandum submitted by the Ministerial Committee for Financial and Economic Affairs and Fiscal Balance regarding Bahrain's unified final account and final results for the 2023 fiscal year. A memorandum submitted by the Ministerial Committee for Legal and Legislative Affairs on the government's response to 2 laws and 3 proposals submitted by the Representatives Council. A memorandum submitted by the Ministerial Committee for Legal and Legislative Affairs regarding the MOU between Bahrain Polytechnic and the Link Foundation to enhance their cooperation in the academic and scientific fields. A memorandum submitted by the Ministerial Committee for Legal and Legislative Affairs regarding the MOU on the strategic partnership between Bahrain Polytechnic and the Korean Embassy in Bahrain. A memorandum submitted by the Ministerial Committee for Legal and Legislative Affairs regarding the MOU between the Ministry of Education in Bahrain and Al-Usra Center for Consultancies and Training in Kuwait for cooperation and voluntary community partnership for the Atamanna National Development Project for Educational Development. And a memorandum submitted by the Ministerial Committee for Legal and Legislative Affairs regarding the MOU between the General Sports Authority in Bahrain and the Ministry of Sports in Saudi Arabia for cooperation in the sports field. The cabinet then reviewed the following: a memorandum submitted by the Ministerial Committee for Financial and Economic Affairs and Fiscal Balance on the quarterly economic report of Bahrain for the first quarter of 2024, which showed an annual growth in the GDP at constant prices of 3.3%, supported by a growth of 3.4% in the oil sector and 3.3% in the non-oil sector. A memorandum submitted by the Ministerial Committee for Community Services regarding the labor market indicators for the first half of 2024, which showed that 12,555 citizens benefited from the job opportunities provided, representing 63% of the annual target of the Economic Recovery Plan, which aims to employ 20,000 Bahrainis annually. In this regard, the cabinet extended thanks and appreciation to all private sector companies and institutions that contributed to employing Bahrainis during the first half of 2024. The memorandum also noted that 8,637 citizens received training during the first half of 2024, representing 86% of the annual target of the Economic Recovery Plan, which aims to train 10,000 Bahrainis. And a memorandum submitted by the Minister of Municipalities Affairs and Agriculture regarding the latest version of the Unified Guide for Building Permit Requirements. The cabinet then took note of the following ministerial reports: the outcomes of Bahrain's participation in the swearing-in ceremony of the President of Iran, the outcomes of Bahrain's participation in the Farnborough International Air Show, and the external participation of Bahrain's ministers and the visits of foreign ministers to Bahrain. The Representatives Council Speaker Ahmed Lamsalem affirmed the depth of brotherly and historic ties between Bahrain and Saudi Arabia and their development in all fields thanks to the support of His Majesty the King and the Saudi King. The Speaker highlighted that the principle of reciprocity will be applied, treating Bahraini and Saudi products equally regarding local content and government procurement. Saudi companies can now have the product included in the Takamul program, which aims to enhance local value and preference in government purchasing. He added that this reflects the strategic partnership between Bahrain and Saudi Arabia and aligns with the outcomes of their third meeting of the Saudi-Bahraini Coordination Council. Al-Msalem affirmed parliamentary support to further enhance cooperation and coordination between the two brotherly countries. He said that developing trade cooperation in this field will benefit the economic growth of the two brotherly countries and the commerce and industry sectors. The Shura Council Chairman Ali Saleh affirmed that the development of the cooperation and joint coordination between Bahrain and Saudi Arabia is thanks to the vision and wise approach of His Majesty the King and the Saudi King. He praised the completion of the executive procedures to open the registration for Saudi enterprises wishing to register their products in the Takamul program, which comes within the outcomes of the Saudi-Bahraini Coordination Council. He said that the program achieves development and prosperity and consolidates Bahraini-Saudi relations. He affirmed that treating products manufactured in the two brotherly countries equally increases trade and investment opportunities between the two kingdoms. Saleh said that Bahrain and Saudi Arabia possess comprehensive economic visions to build a prosperous future for generations. He emphasized that the program will further enhance economic growth in the two kingdoms and stimulate creativity and innovation in manufacturing local industrial products. The Minister of Oil and Environment and Special Envoy for Climate Affairs, Dr. Mohammed bin Mubarak bin Daina, revealed that work is underway to develop regulatory legislation to protect small fish and ban poaching practices and tools. The Minister conducted an interview with the Al-Watan newspaper, where he indicated that work is currently underway to establish a new hatchery at the National Mariculture Center in Ras Hayyan to increase production capacity. He added that the package of regulatory procedures and initiatives launched by the Supreme Council for the Environment contributed to increasing fish stocks, especially through decisions to reduce the number of fishing licenses, which contributed significantly to reducing fishing effort by 15%. As for the increase in the prices of some types of fish, the Minister of Oil explained that pricing is subject to the seller's evaluation criteria, and therefore it is not possible to set a fixed price for sale. He affirmed that the average production of marine wealth from fisheries in territorial waters reached about 18,500 tons in 2023. He noted that the government of Bahrain, through the partnership between the Council and various ministries and government agencies, is devoting its efforts to intensifying plans and programs supporting Bahraini fishermen and qualifying workers in the field of fish farming. He stressed the commitment to the Supreme Council for the Environment to enhancing the role of the marine wealth sector as one of the most prominent development sectors contributing to achieving food security. In order to preserve food security in the Kingdom of Bahrain and to emphasize the importance of marine wealth as a national wealth, the efforts of the Supreme Council for the Environment continued in cooperation with all relevant bodies in order to preserve this wealth by organizing continuous inspection campaigns on public coasts, central markets and shops selling fish in various governorates of the kingdom to verify licenses and inspect fishing equipment, methods of use, types of fish allowed according to fishing seasons and safety of workers' procedures. Referring to the larger framework of these measures, Bahrain has been keen to develop the legislative framework related to marine wealth, perhaps the most prominent of which is Law 7 of 2022 regarding the environment, which aims to achieve the protection of the environment and its resources from all activities and practices that include causes of pollution and environmental degradation, and the decision to ban the export of fish and shrimp and other marine life that are caught in the territorial waters of the kingdom aim at achieving the goal of self-sufficiency. For this purpose, the National Mariculture Center has been replanned which works to provide high-quality local fish, while planning and development are continuing in order to increase the productivity of marine farming, raise its level of quality, and encourage investment in the field of marine farming to raise production levels, in addition to providing investment encouraging lands with competitive rents, in addition to working to establish a new hatchery to increase production capacity. The government of the kingdom continues to support Bahraini fishermen through plans and programs and the qualification of workers in this field, to support the salaries of Bahrainis who wish to work in the fishing sector and support them in providing the devices and equipment necessary to practice the profession, in addition to training 600 local talents over 5 years under the Empowerment Fund, especially after the success of the first phase of the National Training Program on Agriculture for a group of local talents. As a result, the average production of marine wealth from fisheries in the territorial waters of Bahrain reached 18,492 tons in 2023, while the production of marine and freshwater fish from fish farms reached 162 tons in 2022. The General Directorate of Marine Resources continues to preserve natural resources, enhance marine stocks, and regulate the fishing profession by adopting initiatives and programs to ensure the development of marine wealth. More in this report.
The Kingdom of Bahrain has undertaken measures to safeguard its natural resources and enhance marine reserves, aligning with the directives of His Majesty the King and the decisions of His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister. These measures affirm that Bahrain is progressing effectively in the implementation of its national food security strategy, which is focused on ensuring sustainable access to sufficient and safe food for all individuals, thereby meeting their diverse needs. The General Directorate of Marine Resources and the Supreme Council for Environment continues to intensify inspection campaigns on coast and public markets in cooperation with the concerned authorities. This is to ensure the application of sound practices and legal fishing activities, and to make optimal use of the marine environment in Bahrain.
Telephone calls in the Kingdom of Bahrain during the first quarter of this year witnessed a decrease of 11% compared to the same period in 2023. The reason is the increase in data usage, as the volume of data used during the first quarter of this year increased by 10% compared to the first quarter of last year. Bahrain Tourism and Exhibitions Authority announced the conclusion of the first edition of the Bahrain Summer Toy Festival, which was held at Exhibition World Bahrain, attracting around 97,000 visitors from inside and outside the kingdom. On the occasion, the Executive Vice President of Resources and Projects at the authority, Donna Osama Saad, expressed pleasure that the first edition of the festival witnessed a remarkable success, thanks to the joint efforts of the concerned government entities and private sector organizations. She expressed appreciation to Adana Amphitheater, Space Festoon, Exhibition World Bahrain and NBB for their joint efforts that resulted in the success of the Summer Entertainment Festival, which contributed to stimulating the tourism movement in the kingdom and supporting the hotel and hospitality sectors. She expressed hope that this event becomes an annual occasion in cooperation with all partners to support plans to develop the tourism sector and achieve the objectives of the Tourism Strategy 2022-2026 and diversifying the tourism product and making Bahrain a preferred tourist destination in the region.